A quick history lesson to start today. Before there was Greta Van Fleet, there was a band called Led Zeppelin. And then after Led Zeppelin, but before Greta Van Fleet, there was another band called Kingdom Come. And then after Kingdom Come, but also again before Greta Van Fleet, there was a band called Salty Dog. And Salty Dog had one album. It came out in 1990, and it was called Every Dog Has Its Day. And I love that album, and I love this album, and I'm going to talk about it. This is episode 13 of I Love This Album and Salty Dog, Every Dog Has Its Day. As I mentioned, this came out in 1980. This came out at a time when I think there was a little bit of a brief transition between, some people like to call it hair metal or hard rock or cock rock or party rock, whatever you like to call it, and what became very famous a few years later, grunge. And this kind of fit in there in that brief period. I think this kind of music, and I would put Salty Dog maybe in the same category as some other bands that nobody really heard of. They're a very mysterious band, Salty Dog. I'll maybe talk about that. Sea Hags were, I would say, in that same category. Maybe even Tesla, a little bit earlier was Tesla. The first Tesla album came out in '86, and I would say they were a little bit of an evolution of hair metal. They still had long hair, but I think they weren't as glamorous, glammy. I'm not sure what the word is. They didn't wear makeup. Their look was a little bit more maybe genuine. As I said, maybe that's what kind of grunge evolved into, because all those grunge guys, they still had long hair. And so Salty Dog really sounded like Led Zeppelin. If people of the 17 people that watch this, if you only know Greta Van Fleet, or if you only know Led Zeppelin, or if you've ever heard of Kingdom Come, listen to Salty Dog, and they really sound like Zeppelin. I think maybe more than I don't know enough about Kingdom Come or Greta Van Fleet to say if it's more like Zeppelin or less. But anyway, so this album came out in 1990. I have pretty much no history with Salty Dog. As I said, they were kind of a mystery. I don't remember them ever, because they had such a short career, only one album. I never saw them live. I don't even know if they ever played in Toronto. I was living in Toronto when Every Dog Has Its Day came out, and I don't even remember a Salty Dog video. I guess there must have been. I didn't check, but I can't see a video. But I like I said, I love this album, and I'm going to talk about it now. So going through this track by track, and this is what they look like if you want to know what they look like. So they did, like I said, they had long hair, and they had a little bit of the elements of the glam bands, but they weren't pretty boys. First song was Come Along. Maybe there was a video for that. I don't remember it. Maybe that was how I heard them. But Come Along had a great, I talked, I think in the last couple of episodes it was about Dan Lilker's bass tone in SOD, on Speak English or Die, and Dee Dee Verney's bass tone in Overkill, especially on Under the Influence. This one also, this album had a great bass tone, and opens with the bass and Come Along, and then the drums come in, and it sounds like John Paul Jones, and it could be John Paul Jones and John Bonham playing that. The drums especially really were very amazing drums on this album. Very bombastic and just loud. They really popped out. So Come Along, Sweet Little Baby, She's My Hot Dog Bun. Come along with me, just about a barrel of fun. I brush myself once right across the hair. Like old Mother Hubbard, all of my cupboards been bare. Come on and leave, my train's in the station, gonna find me under sedation. Come along. I love that song. And then at the end it gets it had a great groove, a real Led Zeppelin groove, as a lot of songs on this album did. And then at the end it picked up, it got a lot faster, I guess like a double time, and it was, oh man, I love that song. And I think I think this album came out at a bad time. As I said, this came out in 1990, and people were getting a little bit tired of this music at that point. But if Come Along had come out, if Come Along had come along maybe 3, 4, 5 years earlier, I think it would have been a big hit, and Salty Dog would have had I don't know if they would have had a big career, but I think this album would have sold very well. Next song was Cat's Got Nine. Cat's Got Nine. Told me what you did. That's all you had to say to gain a man's attention. That's a great groove on that song too. That was excellent. Looking at this, the first at least four songs are great. The next one is Ring My Bell. Gimme, 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 ring my bell tonight. Ding, ding, ding. That was excellent too. Where the Sun Don't Shine. That was one of my early favorites on this album, and still is. And that had a little bit of a heavier riff. Guitar was great on this album, but I don't think of it as a guitar album. I think of it as a bass and drum album, which is a little bit unusual. But it had a great riff. The opening of Where the Sun Don't Shine. A little bit not really heavy, but just a really cool riff. And something strange about was that one that was the drums came in at a strange point. I don't know if it's a weird time signature or what, but the drums come in. I'm not sure. I'm not a musician, so I don't know how to explain this. But the drums come in. It seems like a beat earlier than where you would think they come in. Just a single snare, two or three times. And then the guitar comes in, and also this strange thing about this song. There was a and then just one single acoustic guitar chord. Very, very cool song. Very unique, different I think than what other bands were playing at this time. Next song was Spoonful. That's a cover of Willie Dixon. I guess Led Zeppelin had a big Willie Dixon influence on them. So maybe it's appropriate that not that Greta Van Fleet, that Salty Dog did a Willie Dixon song, Spoonful. I don't know if I've ever heard a Willie Dixon song. I only know them from whoever the bands that I like when they've covered Willie Dixon songs, like Salty Dog doing Spoonful. This sounds like a Salty Dog song. It's if you didn't know that it was a cover or that Willie Dixon. Hope I didn't say Willie Nelson. That Willie Dixon did it. You just think, well, it's another Salty Dog song. Spoon is full of cocaine. It sound, lyrically, musically, sounds exactly like a Salty Dog song, which means it sounds like a Led Zeppelin song. Spoonful. Just like a woman. Just like a woman. Ain't that just like a woman? That's another one. I think this bad timing for this band and this album. If this album had come out in 1987 or earlier, Just Like a Woman would have for sure been a single and would have for sure been I think a hit single. It was a great ballad, but not a sappy ballad. It wasn't like Heaven by Warrant, and I like Warrant. I love the first two Warrant albums, so I'm not knocking them. But it wasn't like Heaven, like Warrant, or Every Rose Has Its Thorn, or what else? I don't know. It wasn't like that. It was just a really nice song, but just amazing. That was would have been a huge hit. Ain't that just like a woman? Ain't that just like you? Show a nice affection, baby. Make it simple with your innocence and shies. Though I knew a few women, they had no mercy, and I had no mercy. No, I can't live my life through someone else's eyes. Ain't that just like a woman? Ain't that just like you? Fantastic song. Love it. Should have been a huge hit, or would have been a huge hit a couple of years earlier, I think. Simsalabim was next. That was just more like an interlude. It's like 30 seconds or 40 seconds. Intro to the next song, Keep Me Down. You Keep Me Down. That's another great one. A great groove on that one. What was the lyrics of that one? Sometimes I know these songs, but then as I start talking about them, I kind of forget what's the keep me down, keep me down, keep me down. I know your motives links to desire. You always like to please yourself. What comes around goes around. So take a fall, and I'll make you eat it all for a nickel, for a dime. I'm just a dog. You keep scratching all the time, or you're just a dog. I keep scratching all the time. I can't remember. I'm just a dog that you're scratching all the time. Like a rattlesnake, you shake before you bite. We got the heat up high in the kitchen. Looking to the left to see the right. Now it's all coming to me. I should maybe keep that out in case I have to revert to it. Heave Hard, She Comes Easy. That was a great song. I like that song. That one had a reference to Faster Pussycat. I think one of the last lines in the last verse was, she don't want a better mousetrap, she wants a faster pussycat. And you could say Faster Pussycat was another one of the bands that I mentioned around the same time. It was a little bit not quite glam as Poison and Warrant, although Warrant did come out later, who kind of fit in the same categories. Salty Dog. So yeah, she don't want a better mousetrap, she wants a faster pussycat. Excellent song, Heave Hard, She Comes Easy. Next one was Lonesome Fool. That was one of the maybe the few songs of this era, of this genre, that featured banjo. There's not a lot of music that I like or that I listen to that has banjo, but this song, what song was it? Lonesome Fool. Yeah, Lonesome Fool has banjo in it, and a cool. I always liked the ending of it. It was just a spoken word thing. It was "Bye Bye Babe." I can't remember what he says. The lyrics were never in that song, but he was just kind of doing a little speaking. He said, "About them bucks I owe you. Send a letter to my manager, and he'll send it to my accountant, and he'll send it to my lawyer, and he'll send it back to you." I like that song a lot. And the banjo music. Who would have ever think that I was listening to banjo music? Next was Slow Days. Not too much to say about that one. I like it. Slow Days coming on. Wasn't a favorite. Sacrifice Me. That was another one, ballady. Not a true ballad song, but I think in the same vein as Just Like a Woman. I didn't like it nearly as much as Just Like a Woman, but I did like it. Bands then, up to that point, maybe bands were putting one ballad per album, and then it started to get to two ballads per album, for some of them anyway. And then the last song was Nothing But a Dream, which is my least favorite song on this album. And it's kind of funny. It's the only song that even remotely reminds me of anybody other than Led Zeppelin. It sounds like Motorhead. To me, it sounded like it could have been a Motorhead influenced song. And I love Motorhead, as I've mentioned many times. And in a lot of these videos, they're one of my all-time favorite bands, Motorhead is. And so you'd think that if a band is going to do a song that sounds like Motorhead, that I would really like it. But I don't really. To me, Salty Dog maybe shouldn't have been that heavy. Skid Row reminded me of that. The second Skid Row album, Slave to the Grind. I didn't like heavy Skid Row. I loved the first Skid Row album. When they tried to be heavy, to me it wasn't the same. So that's it for Salty Dog. Every dog has its day. As I said, not too much to say about them. Although of course, I love the album. But a mystery band. I don't know what happened to them. I do remember their names. Jimmy Bleacher was the singer. Kurt Mayer was the drummer. Pete Ravine was the guitarist. And Michael Hannon was the bass player. The only guy of the four of them that I know that did anything else after Salty Dog that I knew about was Michael Hannon, because he joined Dangerous Toys, who I love Dangerous Toys. I just talked about them some episodes ago, their first album. He was in Dangerous Toys for maybe a year or 2 years. He was never on. Michael Hannon from Salty Dog was never on a Dangerous Toys album, because he joined after Pissed. No, maybe he did play on Pissed, but not on the artist formerly known as Dangerous Toys, because Jason McMaster played bass on that. So again, a very mysterious band. Michael Hannon was the only guy who did anything after, and the other guys, Jimmy Bleacher, Kurt Mayer, and Pete Ravine, have no idea whatever happened to them then. I don't know if they're doing anything now. I don't know what they've done in the time in between. But that's all I can say about Salty Dog. No, the last thing I can say about Salty Dog is I love this album. See how I worked that in there?